I'm so proud to introduce you to a very special friend of mine, one of the great actors of all time, a horseman, a roper, and an artist. Buck Taylor, I'm so glad you joined us.
Thank you, Red. It's good to be here.
It's always good to see you.
Thank you. As Doc Holliday would have said in Tombstone, I'm in my prime.
Well, you know, we've been doing this kind of thing for about 35 years. Do you realize that?
I do.
We were both pups.
Yep.
Your hair was black and mine was red. But we've had some wonderful experiences. And you grew up in the movie business.
I did. I had the fortune of growing up in the San Fernando Valley, and my dad was an actor, you know, and I was surrounded by people that came from Texas and Oklahoma and the Midwest. And, you know, I lived right down the street from Yakima. Ben Johnson was a friend, and, you know, cowboys. And at an early age, I knew what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, and what I wanted to be like. They were great role models for me and still are.
And you know, it was a very tight-knit community, wasn't it? The Western people.
It was. Monty, Montana lived not too far, Big Boy Williams over here, and Wild Bill Elliott, and then, of course, later Casey Tibbs and all the rodeo cowboys that I came in contact with. What a way to grow up.
A wonderful way to grow up, and a wonderful group of people to grow up in, because you took care of each other.
Yes.
Because you came from an agrarian background. Everybody did. And it was still that you practiced the code of the West.
Yes.
And the things that Gene Autry and Roy Rogers wrote and Bill Boyd wrote in their little thing, the code of the West, those came from that society that all those Western people came from.
And I'm glad it did, because it's what I embrace, I love. I know that in the early part of my life, I revered people like our cowboys, our Western way of life, and I still do, Red. It's why I live here.
And you know, Buck, that all comes back to a thing that Buck Ramsey said, and in one of his poems, the great poem Anthem, when he said, "We are made of what we do, not the stuff we lay claim to."
Couldn't be said better.
And Edgar A. Guest, when he said, "I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day." And people related with their actions, what kind of people they were. You could spend a little bit of time with a feller and know whether or not he was honest.
Yep.
And that kind of attitude is one that we revere.
Yeah. And
you guys portrayed in the movies.
Well, you know, there's a saying, lions don't have to roar.
Amen.
And that's, I love humble people, and like we were talking about before, you know, let's get on with the job and do the work. You'll find out what they're about.
Yes. Well, now, what was the first movie you were in, and how old were you?
Oh, I had just happily served in the United States Navy, and I got out and I was in a TV movie called it was there, but it left.
I understand that.
It was a long time ago, Red. It was 51 years ago, but it was a small part in a television show.
You're excused.
Thank you.
And then along came Gunsmoke.
Yes, it came about 8 years later, and that series projected what we talk about. You know, the good values of people helping each other, and that's basically what it was. It was a story of 5 or 6 people: Marshall Dillon, Miss Kitty, Doc, Festus, Sam the bartender, myself, that looked out for one another, and then all the townspeople we helped. Everyone got together to help each other, and that's a good thing, and that's what we need in this country today. Those strong messages like that.
Well, that's what that society was all about.
Yes.
Now today, you have a wonderful career as an artist, and tell us about that. What motivates you to be an artist?
Well, all my life I grew up wanting to paint and draw, and my dad had a lot of prints of Charlie Russell and Remingtons, and you know, I looked on the walls of his bunkhouse, and I said, I got to draw the front of Field and Stream. I want to be an illustrator, and it took me a while. I'm kind of slow, you know. I do things. It takes a long time to get going, but I did. I became an artist 25, 30 years ago after training and so forth. And I'm really living a wonderful part of my life right now, being able to work in films and paint some of my experiences from films and some from history, like the National Ranching Heritage, You know, I was able to do Las Escarbadas and a series of paintings on historical buildings. I'm just blessed.
Yes, you are. And we're blessed because you are an artist. I've got a lot of your stuff in my house and in my office, and I treasure it.
Thank you.
And you do a lot of posters for several different stock shows and things people can take home and admire the same way we admire the Charlie Russell paintings.
Exactly.
And I'm really proud of you, Buck.
Aren't you were on the board of the pro rodeo at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, Oklahoma City?
No, I'm not a part of the rodeo.
You're not?
Right.
But you do love rodeo,
Oh, I
as
do love
I
rodeo.
do. And I mean, I'm able to support it in my way with doing a lot of posters, you know, national finals and that.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed I can do it because it's part of my life also that I love and respect.
And we're grateful, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.